Hey everyone, it's your girl Lauren from the Ex-Wives Lounge podcast. I have never done a solo episode before, but there's something really sitting with me deeply recently, and that is friendships. I want to dive into friendships. How the type of friendship we look for when we're in our 20s versus the type of friendship we crave or we dream about or we look to connect to changes when we get into our 30s and our 40s and beyond. The friends that we look for in our 20s, or at least for me personally speaking, were those friends that were fun, adventurous, spontaneous, friends that you got into trouble with possibly, friends that you learned mistakes with. And for me, through the ebbs and flows of my personal journey, I've come to realize that female friendships are something to be cherished, something to be valued, something that is not really talked about very often. I think we kind of graze over the topic of friendships. We don't really dive deep into it. And today, I want to dive deep into it because friendships are something that I definitely pride myself on keeping at this age. And I think a lot of women of any age will connect to this topic on a very deep level when I point out the things to you in this episode that, in my mind, make true friendship. So in my 20s, personally speaking, I was very big into sports. I was a competitive equestrian. I traveled around the world. And I did have some girls that rode horses within the same barn as me. The hard thing about being in a sport when it's not considered a team sport is you're competing against one another ultimately. And so within that competition of one another, like a lot of women are of any age with one another, the competition component of a friendship is something that's very hard. Competition should never be something in a true sisterhood with a friend. But for me in my 20s, that is what I kept running into, was friends that were always competing with one another. I always felt like I was competing with them. And for me, as I grew older, I realized what I truly, truly needed out of a friendship. And I feel like a friendship is just like any other relationship. It's, a relationship that you would have with someone of the opposite sex. But what we don't talk about enough is how when you have a disconnect with a friend as you progressively get older, there is almost a mourning period because you valued that person. You were vulnerable with that person. You possibly leaned on that person through your life's, trials and tribulations. My girlfriends, a few, I would say, were there for me during the divorce. For the most part, though, I did not have that solid core sisterhood of women. And I noticed when I was in my 20s, like I previously said, it was always about competition. It was more about quantity and not quality. And as we age as women, with getting married, having children, maybe solidifying a gigantic career, falling in love, then we head into the post-pregnancy life. And we need to feel a sense of understanding and validation and community, sisterhood, when you get to be in your 30s and your 40s, and even in your 50s as women. You're looking for that community of women that hear you and see you and validate you. Almost very similar to a heterosexual relationship or a same-sex relationship for same-sex couples. It's a forming, it's a union, it's a partnership in a lot of respects. I truly value my friendships with my friends. I think it's harder on me now in my early 40s when I feel a disconnect from my girlfriends, more so than even losing a significant other. And it feels like a tremendous loss. And if we really read into relationships that we build with our friends, our girlfriends, we need to have women around us. We don't ultimately need a partner. Yes, we do for, childbearing and companionship and all the things. But even in marriage, we need our girlfriends. Women understand women. And I think, unfortunately, we get in our own way of seeing our friend's position, seeing where she is coming from. And in my 20s, I did not solidify good friendships. It was very whatever was convenient. It was out of convenience. My 30s, I definitely had women around me, a couple who I still have around me to this day that have stuck by my side through my ebbs and flows in my personal journey. But even then, I didn't feel fully satisfied or solidified with my friend group. It wasn't until I became a mom and now a ex-wife that I have truly found, as my friend Brandy from the Vibe Tribe says, I've truly found my tribe, so to speak. I have found women who value one another. I have found women, like we say with significant others, that are emotionally intelligent. I'm truly grateful for the handful of girlfriends that I have in my life right now. And I've come to the realization that as we grow older and as we go through the ebbs and flows of our individual journeys, our paths with our friendships sometimes lead us to a decision. And it's not an easy one. It's a decision like any other relationship where, is this a friend that I can tell all my deepest, darkest feelings and thoughts and needs to? And as we get older as women, I think we come to a place where we're not willing to deal with the drama. We're not willing to deal with the judgment. We feel more confident in our needs to surround ourselves with women that are on the same path we are, the same growth as we are. And I can say that I have women right now in my life that I feel completely comfortable around, to be vulnerable with, to have my ugly cries with, to show my insecurities to without judgment with. Women that will be there for me till death. I'm eternally grateful for those women. But it took me until my early 40s to truly realize what I needed from my friends. But with that came what I needed from myself. What Lauren needs from a relationship, right? What I need from a partner, but then also what I need from my girlfriends. And once you truly know yourself and you know what you need, I feel like you do attract the right friends to you, just like you attract the right partner to you. And so I'm very grateful. I don't take 1 second for granted about the women that are around me and around my daughter and in my life. And I've come to the realization that it's okay if you as friends don't see eye to eye, but accept each other for it and don't judge one another for it. Support each other through those moments. Sometimes you need a friend to sit there and vent, but tell them that. Tell them, hey, I need you right now. I don't need your opinion, and I don't need to hear what you have to say about what I'm going through. I just need you to be here physically in this moment with me so that I feel the support. I feel loved. I feel cared for, and I feel heard. I think the more that you can be honest and transparent with your friends, the more you will weed out the women in your life that truly are there for the same reasons you are. To evolve together, to make memories together, to experience life with one another. As a mom of a daughter, which I talk about a lot on this podcast, I value my friends even more so now. I value the idea that my daughter not only gets to see a strong, independent mom, but she gets to have a tribe of strong, independent women around her, outside of just me. It has taken me until 41 to realize what I needed out of my friends. Unfortunately, I had to go through the lowest times in my life to realize this, but I'm here, and I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be in this place where I truly know now who my real friends are and who my real friends aren't. Women evolve, life evolves, and with evolution comes realizing who you can count on, who's got your back, who truly sees you, and who's truly going to be there for you through the ebbs and flows.